Over the past few weeks, there has been a growing number of people saying that Porsche values are about to plummet, and if you own a 911, you better sell it immediately. Now, I wish this were true because there are a few Porsches that I would love to own but can't afford, but we won't be seeing anything more than a minor dip in values in the foreseeable future. Now, these Porsche depreciation alarmists are giving us 4 reasons why they think Porsches are about to plummet in value. And they are dealerships treating customers poorly, 2 911s that aren't selling well at the moment, loans for cars becoming more expensive, and some used car prices are being reduced. In this video, we're going to be looking a little deeper into these 4 reasons and talk about why they don't signify an impending Porsche crash. And then I'm going to be giving you 5 reasons as to why the Porsche market is going to remain strong.
Oh, and real quick, if you're enjoying this video, or you just like learning about Porsches, click here to subscribe.
The first reason for Porsche depreciation referenced is that Porsche dealerships treat their customers poorly. And this is absolutely true. When I first started driving Porsches, I was pretty surprised at just how poorly the dealerships treat their customers. In fact, I could make an entire video just about all of the bad experiences I've had at Porsche dealerships. Now, I'm sure that Porsche's high-end customers receive excellent treatment. But when it comes to the average customer such as myself, there is no shortage of unhappy people. But poor dealership experience is irrelevant to Porsche's sales because the demand for 911s is so high that it makes no difference how poorly the dealerships treat their customers. In fact, high demand for 911s is probably the reason that dealerships no longer go out of their way to give good customer service. And just to give you an example of how poor customer experience doesn't affect sales, there are several Porsche dealerships that I would never get my car serviced at, but when the last GT3 was first announced, you can be sure that I was calling each one of them trying to get an allocation. The next reason given for an upcoming drop in Porsche values is the slow sales of 2 particular cars. There's a YouTube video that's getting a huge amount of attention that claims slow sales of 2 cars is a sign that all Porsches are going to drop in value. But it's not great logic to say 2 cars aren't selling well, therefore all Porsches are going to drop in value. You wouldn't say that because Ferrari Californias and 488s aren't selling well at the moment that all Ferraris are about to drop in value. You would probably say that the Ferrari California isn't selling well because it's an unattractive car that offers poor performance for the money, and that the 488 isn't selling well because Ferrari's customers are much more excited about the SF90 and 296. The 2 slow-selling Porsches referenced in the video are the 991.1 GT3 and the 992.1 Turbo S, but only in the UK. Now, the 991.1 GT3 is the least popular GT3 ever made. These are the cars that have engines that catch on fire, and this is the only GT3 ever made that doesn't have a manual transmission option. It's also considered the least enjoyable GT3 to drive, and since its introduction 10 years ago, Porsche has produced much more desirable track-focused cars such as the 991.2 GT3, the 992 GT3, the 981 GT4 and 718 GT4, and the GT4 RS. So while prices for the 991.1 GT3 may have dropped to $140,000, if you were to purchase its predecessor, the 997.2 GT3, you would need to spend at least $200,000 to get one. And used examples of the 992 GT3 are still selling for way above sticker. The other car referenced in the video is the 992.1 Turbo S, but only in the UK. Now, this is kind of a unique phenomenon that is not happening with any other 911 anywhere else in the world. As the YouTuber pointed out, there are several examples of brand new cars that dealerships are having trouble selling, but in America, not only are there no new examples of 992.1 Turbo S's for sale, the used Turbo S's are selling for more than the new Turbo S's are in the UK. So this is a very unique case where Porsche misanalyzed the market and sent way too many Turbo S's to Europe and not enough to America, because you could literally take those exact same brand new Turbo S's in Europe, bring them to America, and sell them for way more money. So basically, these UK examples aren't selling well because someone somewhere screwed something up. So yes, in these two very specific instances, these Porsches have gone down in value. But this is not indicative of all 911s. In fact, you could use this exact same logic to make the complete opposite argument. You can take a car like the 935-19 and say it was originally $800,000, but now they're selling for over $1.6 million. And the 911 Sport Classic, which just a few months ago had a sticker price of $274,000 and is now selling for well over $500,000. So obviously, Porsche values are skyrocketing, and you better buy one now before they all become unaffordable. The third reason given for an impending crash in Porsche values is that it's getting harder to get financed for a car. But even 2 or 3 years ago, when it was easier, people were still having a nearly impossible time getting allocations for a 911 GTS or GT3. And there's more than enough people out there who don't need financing to buy a new Porsche. Go to a Porsche event and you will literally be surrounded by people who have cash in hand and are begging dealerships for an allocation for the latest high-performance 911. So whether it's difficult or not to borrow money won't have much effect on the high-end car market because the demand will always be greater than the supply. The fourth reason given for an impending drop in Porsche values is that some dealerships are lowering the prices on their used cars. This is happening because we are at the end of the 992.1 life cycle. There's what's called a product life cycle. When a brand new product, such as the latest 911, first hits the market, there is a multi-year buildup of demand for that product. So when deliveries finally start trickling in, there are thousands of people who want to purchase the product immediately and are willing to pay a premium to get it. This gives the first people who receive the product the opportunity to turn around and sell it for a large profit. But after a couple years, most of the people who want the product already have it. And then after a couple more years, as we approach the end of the product life cycle and a newer, better, faster product will be out in a few months, people begin losing interest in the current product and decide to just wait for the new one. If you spend any time on the internet lately, you know that Porsche has several 911s that will be out in the next few months. And if you're not aware of this, I have several extremely informative videos on my YouTube channel that you should definitely watch. Now let's talk about why Porsches are not going to drop in value. And the first reason is that even at their current inflated prices, they're still a great value. To define good value, we're going to do an apples-to-apples price comparison with Ferrari, and then we're going to do an apples-to-apples performance comparison with Ferrari. If you had $250,000 to spend on a used car, you could purchase a 2022 GT3 from Porsche or a 2020 Portofino from Ferrari. The GT3 is one of the best performing sports cars ever made, while the Portofino has such poor performance that no automotive media outlet has ever bothered to test it on a track. And while beauty is subjective, I think most people would agree that the GT3 is a much more beautiful car, so clearly the better value here is Porsche. Now, if we eliminate price and do a performance comparison between Porsche and Ferrari, we would be comparing the 2022 GT3 to the 2022 SF90, which offers very similar track performance. But while the GT3 can be purchased for $250,000, the SF90 is $700,000 or more, nearly 3 times more expensive. So even at current inflated prices, the GT3 still offers incredible value. If you're a Porsche fan and want to keep up with the latest news, be sure to subscribe to this channel for the most comprehensive and up-to-date news on Porsche. And if you would like to support this channel and pick up some custom original Porsche merchandise for men, women, kids, pretty much anything, then check out my store, which is linked in the description below. While the Porsche 911 offers similar or better performance than other exotic cars on the market, there's one thing Porsche offers that the others don't, and that is dependability. With Porsche, you have a car that you can thrash on the racetrack over and over again without having to worry about the maintenance issues and high repair costs that develop with other exotic cars, and that alone keeps the value of these cars high. The third reason that Porsches will not be going down in value is driving experience. While today's 911s have little in common with the air-cooled cars from 40 years ago, Porsche is the only major exotic car manufacturer that offers a naturally aspirated engine and a manual transmission, while Ferrari and Lamborghini abandoned manual transmissions over a decade ago. And when it comes to the used exotic market, any car with a manual transmission is worth significantly more than the same car with an automatic transmission. Modern-day Porsches also offer a more soulful and moving driving experience when compared to Ferraris, Lamborghinis, and McLarens. Another reason that Porsches won't be dropping in value is the performance that they offer. If you follow automotive journalism at all, one thing you know is that Ferrari, Lamborghini, and McLaren like to avoid head-to-head track battles with other manufacturers. Whenever media companies are doing performance comparisons between different cars, it's not unusual for Ferrari, Lamborghini, and McLaren to refuse to provide cars for the competition and make some kind of remark like, "We're not interested in 0 to 60 times," or "Our cars are too good to be compared to other cars." And if the media companies want to include them in the competition, they usually have to source the cars from private owners. While Porsche, on the other hand, can always be counted on to send over pretty much any car requested. And this is simply because Porsches are made to outperform their competition. They offer a unique combination of superior engineering, superior performance, and superior durability.
Spec. With the mobile button logos on the start lights, and yet with the top with the white logos on it.
And the main reason that Porsche 911s won't be dropping in value is that Porsche has figured out how to control the market. The Porsche of 20 years ago that was desperate to sell as many 911s as possible is a completely different company from the Porsche of today. In their current situation, Porsche makes so much money selling Cayennes, Macans, and Taycans that they don't even need to sell 911s anymore. And this has recently caused Porsche to reposition the 911 as a more exclusive car that is reserved for their best customers. This move has given Porsche such a commanding grip on the market that they have become masters of keeping the supply of 911s lower than the demand. So Porsche 911 values are going to remain strong for years to come. But one thing that needs to be acknowledged is that the economy has been struggling for the last couple years, and this is causing many high-end luxury goods to see some degree of depreciation. So anything expensive that people don't need, like watches, boats, and exotic cars, are likely to see a small price drop. But 911s, especially the most desirable trims, such as the T, GTS, and GT3, will see little or no drop in value. So keep your Porsches and enjoy your Porsches. And if you're in the market for buying another one, don't let the negative rumors prevent you from pulling the trigger. Thanks for checking out this video, and don't forget to check out my merch store, which is linked in the description below. And for more Porsche content that you cannot find anywhere else, click here to subscribe.